You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 1st, 2023 meeting of the LaPorte County Parks and Recreation Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Okay, we're going to call the Park Board meeting to order. At this point, can we have a roll call?
Amanda? Here. Jim?
Here.
Aaron? Here. Mike?
Here.
Mary? Here. Ron?
Here.
And Mary Nell?
Here.
Okay, and let's all stand and face the flag. It's behind you folks there. And we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'd like to make a change to the agenda to have the public comment the sixth item instead of the last item. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes with that change? And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The minutes, any changes to the minutes from last meeting?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Public comment. Do we have anybody that wants to speak to the board? That's you.
I guess I drew the long, shortest straw.
Short straw? Okay, very good.
We're a group of pickleball players. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that. You know, pickleball, paddles, balls. There's different colored balls, and there's different facilities that we go to.
If you don't mind, state your name just so
I'm
for
sorry.
yeah, you're fine.
For those that know me, my cousin over here, I'm Dan Messina. For those that don't know me, I'm still Dan Messina.
Okay.
So like I say, I probably drew the short straw, so I get to speak just on behalf of my fellow pickleball players. It's a sport, and I'm sure you've heard it, you probably have watched it, you've maybe seen it more and more on TV. It's internationally the biggest growing sport there is, over and above. I think within a few years, it'll be within the high schools. Probably the IHSAA, the Indiana High School Athletic Association, will probably take it on and probably have competition between schools and state. I wouldn't doubt within 3 or 4 years, it'll probably be in the Olympics. So it's growing that much in popularity.
It is.
We're kind of here to talk about facilities. We were always playing out the Northwest Racket Club, which is down west of here on 400. We would meet there about every day or every evening, even on weekends, a group of us, and play on courts that they converted from tennis courts to pickleball courts. One Sunday morning we show up with a big sign on the marquee, it says closed. And we're standing there, where do we go? What do we do? It happened to be a fall day, I believe, when we saw that. A couple of us put our heads together. We knew that the Elston facility in Michigan City, which is now the YMCA, they had a big gym downstairs, which was set up originally to be the girls' basketball facility. A few of us went and talked to the director there, talked to somebody from the county YMCA, and asked if we could go down and we would tape off lines in the facility to make pickleball courts, because we had that much interest and we had nowhere else really to go to play. Among some talk and some controversy, some good, some poor, well, we finally convinced them that, hey, I'll bring you 25, 30 new members to the Y if you allow us to do that, because we knew they weren't using that downstairs facility for anything else. So we got the nod, the okay, and that afternoon we had like 1, 2, 3, 4 courts taped up on the floor, and we bought our own portable nets. We said we would maintain the facility by sweeping the floor in the morning, emptying garbage, and actually seeing that the place was kept up, and we have done that up until today. Since then, I think we put a couple other pickleball courts in. One of them just a tennis court that they use, just a soft tennis ball that they use, but we can also use that for pickleball. we have grown and grown. Then we come spring of the next year, we said, where are we going to play outside? We all look at each other, well, the facilities, well, we could go to Michigan. They have courts outside, but Michigan, we could play there. We could go to maybe Portage or Chesterton out of our county and play there, which is a distance to travel. Same with Michiana. LaPorte had some really nice facility at Kessling Park. They, I believe, had converted some of their tennis courts into pickleball. So we have gone there too. We've kind of split up. It grows in groves is what the sport does. I mean, we have newcomers coming in and say, well, I've never grabbed a paddle or a racket. And they are paddles and not rackets. I've never played the sport before. Can we learn? And we all will take the time out to walk them through, to play with them, to talk to them about the rules. Since then, we've had 2 members of our group that have gone further to classes, taken some written tests, and became instructors. So we're real fortunate in our area to have 2 people that are instructors that can start a newcomer out. So we're grateful for them, and we work alongside with them, training, teaching, and every day almost you see a newcomer come in and play. I played Sunday evening over LaPorte, Kessling, and there had to be at least 40 people, pickleball players there, waiting to get on the courts, on the 4 courts that they have. They did have some temporary courts that they put up, but the sport is growing so big, and we look around and say, well, we really don't have a place that we could play.
What do you require for?
Pardon me?
Do you require concrete or asphalt, or?
I think one of the other ladies is going to talk about that in a bit.
There he is. Hey. Wow. I apologize. I'm the only one not dressed in my tennis gear. I just came from a funeral. I apologize for being late as well. Earl Cunningham. Basically, it's just an asphalt base, and then they cover it just like they do a tennis court. It's virtually, and here's the good thing, you can put 4 pickleball courts in the same area that you would put 1 tennis court. In fact, we've done that at the what they call the Marquette Tennis Complex up at Elston Y. The 6th court closest to Franklin Street, we went out and cornered all 4 courts, and we taped, these 2 guys primarily, we laid masking tape down and actually taped lines in a different color so we could play pickleball and tennis both on the same court. But we got 4 courts lined out there. We only used 3 of them, so we just taped the lines for 3 and left the other one with the corners. So if you ever, the problem is that court is so cracked up, nobody will go there. And you get cracks where it's raised an inch, now you're talking about somebody getting hurt. So it's got to be a relatively flat area. One lady that couldn't be here tonight, Maya Sandin, has a friend that they've known and has done a lot of contracting work for them, asphalt. She sent a guy out here to meet me in this area right over here. We were hoping we could get 8 courts at some point in time, but he says we can't get 8 courts in there anyway, it wouldn't fit. So that would be equivalent to 2 tennis courts. 6, so you're looking at the equivalent to 1.5 tennis courts in physical size. A tennis court is 78 feet long and 36 feet wide. And a pickleball court is only 44 feet long and 20 feet wide. So there's a considerable difference. All that stuff's on Google, you can look that up. But at any rate, he met me out here, measured this off, marked some corners. We think this would be a perfect spot because number 1, you already got parking. You've got some shade that we can get in over here, so I should get underneath the tree, but you don't want the trees hanging over the courts because then there's leaves on the courts all the time, you can't run. So we're certainly at a starting point. We were hopeful at one point in time that we could get maybe a joint effort between the city and the county because this park is actually 1 mile closer to the city than a city park is out in the county. Michigan City has Patriot Park, which is a city park a mile south of this, right? We're on 400 and that's on 300. So we're not completely eliminating that, but we see they have already advertised for 2 courts at Water Tower Park. Now this group will tell you right now, building 2 courts is like not building any courts. Because you can put 8 players on and if you get more than 6 or 8 people waiting, then everybody's just standing around waiting all the time. So you've got to have enough courts to handle the crowd. The figure I'll give you that's the highest number I've seen on January 2nd of this year, we ran 66 pickleball players through the YMCA complex from about 7 in the morning until 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon. That's the kind of demand. On January 2nd, everybody had this big New Year's resolution. We didn't see but 50 on the 3rd, but there were 60. And here's the beauty. Every day we're adding somebody. Today, Gary Sachs came in, Dave saw him. First time he'd ever been there to see tennis or soft tennis, either one. So I think Dan hit the nail on the head. It's going to grow, it's going to keep growing. And from a park department standpoint, you've got wonderful things out here for younger people. Look at the average age of this group. I don't want to tell you how old Dan and I are.
25 or 26?
Hey,
26?
a lot more of us over 70, probably than under 50. I don't know. Is there anybody in our group under 50? Yeah. See, I've been playing against each other for 60 years. So, if you have any questions, preliminary stages, Jeremy and I have already talked. The fact that the new bathroom is here, you got great parking here. The other beautiful thing here is there's something to do if you're not playing. Take a walk, go play frisbee golf, bring your family with you. And here's the other big problem that we run into in some other areas. You have to almost be secluded from homes, which this is. If you think how far it is on the other side of the trees to the first house. Pickleball is actually a noise issue in many areas. You can look that up all over. You can just type Google in pickleball noise complaints. It's all over the country. There's been some parks that have built hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of pickleball courts, and then the homeowners association came in and said, no, you can't play here. It's too noisy. He's got a ball. This is the difference of this and a tennis ball, and now magnify that times 6 or 8. It's like pop, pop, pop. Like you're in a popcorn popper. If your house is across the street, you're going nuts after 8 hours. And if you're playing from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, that becomes an issue. Whereas here, even with the people that are here, we think the noise is a good thing because they're going to come over and see what's going on. We want to see this. We want to play. We want to play. We're going to have extra paddles, get them in, teach them the sport. Because in the long run, this is the sport that a bunch of old people that some of them, I can tell you right now, Nancy Sanders, would you please stand up? Nancy Sanders, I've been in coaching pretty much my whole life. Nancy Sanders came to us when she first started. She'll tell you, I'm the least athletic person in this group, and today she's one of our better pickleball players. She has fun with anybody. She can play with anybody here. Nobody hesitates to get in a match with Nancy, do you?
Well, I don't know, they're doing rock, paper, scissors a lot. But I'm a social game, more than an athletic game. But pickleball is...
She's lost a bunch of weight. We've had 2 people lose nearly 100 pounds, starting with pickleball. Several guys have lost 60 pounds.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you guys that are here all the time see it. We have one guy who plays, Tom Gross, is blind in one eye and was about 100 pounds over where he's at right now. But he gets along with everybody, he comes in, so he's there 3 hours a day sometimes. So it's basically saved his life, he'll tell you that. If he hadn't lost that weight and got some exercise, so it's a totally different aspect in that issue. Not a lot of running, it's a lot of just quick steps. Think of it, it's only 20 feet wide. Dan and I are playing together. He's got to cover 10 feet, and I've got to cover 10 feet, width-wise. So it's much easier to play as you get older if you have knee problems and so forth. We've got several people that are playing that have had knee replacements. You're one of them.
I know. Couldn't wait to get back on the court. Couldn't wait for this thing to heal enough to get back on.
So if you have any questions, obviously this is the first step. We would like to, for you as a park department, to meet with this is your board, but you have an endowment board as well. You got to talk, get all that together and just see if there's some interest because we think it's a great thing. And the county does not have a pickleball club. We have first for, and I'll tell you, I've worked with Jeremy off and on for the last, how many years he's been here, since the day he got here. The park department is probably the department in LaPorte County held in the highest esteem, biggest bang for the buck right now. I'm on the county council, we see it all the time. He's doing a fantastic job with the staff he's got. And we get more people bragging about the park department than any other department. And it's a good name. So if there's any questions that Dan or I or anybody else can answer, we'd be happy to do that.
And the reason we picked this facility out, I think a group of us got together a few weeks back. We said, okay, everybody pick a park, a playground, a school, an area where you think there'd be enough room to put courts in. And whoever picked out this place to come look at, this was, we all came out here together and kind of looked at the facility and thought, this is the place.
Lance Warner, I'm sorry to interrupt. Lance Warner is formerly of the Michigan City area schools. We asked them for permission to put lines down at Barker Middle School. They had 4 tennis courts. Can we go in there and just put pickleball lines down? He was ahead of this, which I expect him to be. He was ahead of all of us. He had already done the research on the internet and knew that was going to be a noise complaint because there's houses right across the street. People that have been there 25, 30 years, it's going to be an issue. So this is almost like a utopia in that it's so isolated and yet so many other things to do. Krieger Middle School, they suggested that. It's too isolated. It was so isolated that we're not going to get a carload of 4 women to go to that neighborhood and play. I think, and we haven't had a chance to go to a park board meeting for the city, but I think they're making a mistake at Water Tower Park because there's homes right across the street. You know, you're looking at a car pretty much for every person that's here. There's a couple husband and wife teams, but you're looking at a car for parking. That would take up all the parking at Water Tower Park. Get 8 people in there, and you eliminate a small park area. So,
Or where are they putting it at Water Tower?
I have no idea. I just saw
I'm just thinking like,
I just saw a legal description. I think they're moving to the east, correct?
Yeah, it's
okay,
kind of behind the tower, behind the
okay.
McDonald's area, you know.
Yeah, my daughter played
There's a
baseball there, yeah.
playground there that's
Yeah.
very, very seldom used.
Here's
Right.
the other thing. The size of the area, you have to run your courts north and south.
Okay.
If you run your courts east and west, then you're looking at the sun in the morning or the evening. Whereas if you're going north and south, on a true north and south, the sun's coming right over the top of the net during the day. You can avoid that passing. Okay, so there's a lot of little things. If any of you happen to be in New Buffalo, go to New Buffalo High School, it's on Clay Street, just across the street from their high school. They've got beautiful new courts there. They've already incorporated into their physics program. They'll put a sign up there, courts closed for the next 3 days from 9 to 11 for pickleball classes. So their phys ed classes can use it. If you go to Kessling and look at the courts out there by the baseball diamonds, it's in the Bill Reed tennis complex back in there, and Jeremy's been over to look at them. You see what the actual courts look like. And you can go online to look at people playing as well. But that's a great question. I don't know exactly, but I don't see them tearing down. They're not going to tear down the training center. So they're going to go east, likely.
Got it.
And you can't be too close to trees. But there's been courts, like Michiana Shores has got 4 pretty good courts. Their 5th court is actually a tennis court that's been expanded to pickleball as well. There's a big oak tree where they can't even have a square cornered fence. They built a fence around the tree. So now you got debris on the court every day. That almost has to be swept. They leave brooms out there, but almost need a blower in some days.
When you had the initial survey, did they give you any kind of estimate as far as cost?
Lisa, do you have any of that? You don't have?
Didn't get a cost?
We've only talked to one contractor, the guy that built the New Buffalo ones, which we think look as good as anybody's. And it was basically $160 for 4 courts, so you tend to look at another half of that. Probably looking at
$160,000.
$160. We'll take two. We'll take 2, maybe 3.
$1,000 for 4 courts. If you added 2, it probably isn't going to be quite half of that, but it might. But it's initially, if you go in 6 courts, which would be the biggest facility in our county right now. Michiana Shores is just across the line. They have 5. Kessling has 4, but we're hearing a rumor that Kessling is going to try to expand to 6 or 8 or 10 more. They might have 10 courts. Valpo, if you watch the news, is getting ready to build a 10-court complex. So yeah, it's growing all around us.
That was the estimate that Michigan City gave me as well. They had a recent estimate for like $165,000 for one or for 2 courts.
Chesterfield was 4 courts with $220,000.
Yes. We think we would be 6 courts for somewhere close to that, maybe another 40 or 50,000. And what he said here was this is an ideal position spot because it's flat. He would have to, they would take a little sand out and raise the gravel because you want the courts above the parking lot. Otherwise, the water's going to run in. Obviously, anybody that's been around water can't control it's going to run downhill. So they would literally be slightly ahead above these parking lot and come out maybe within 10 foot of the parking lot, I'm just saying. Because if you do 6 courts, you're looking at 120 feet north and south. Okay, you need a minimum of 120 foot north and south. So if you walk out there now from the parking lot, you see where that bench is, someone sitting on that bench, slightly this way of that bench, you can get 120 feet. They've already taped that off. He ran a reel, so this would be perfect for 3x3, but I can't do, or a 3x2, I can't do 2 rows of 4. Can't get it in. He was going to be all the way over in here, and he was going to be all the way over where the lady's walking on the curve already. You're going to have to put that on. So 6 would be a flat out awesome in this area.
So any question? So you talked about the noise, and I know a lot of people come here because it is quiet, and I'm a bird watcher. I don't know if I ever mentioned that. But so what's the frequency that you're looking at, like in summertime, of when people would be?
The hours?
Yeah.
Which has been probably 8 a.m. and I'm not sure what time you open your gates in the morning. Usually in the summer it gets so hot, maybe by 10 o'clock, 11 at the latest, we're all dispersed out because of the heat. Another group may come in at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock and play for a couple hours.
You probably wouldn't feel like at this time of night, there would be people playing, I think, right now, but there wouldn't be 6 courts full. It wouldn't be as noisy. But I'm going to tell you, it's a fun sport, so you hear a lot of laughter. It's not just a ball, you hear communication. So think about it, 2 tennis players or 4 tennis players on one court. Now you put 16 in the same area, and they're all joking and laughing, having a good time. And so it's a little noisier, but we think from a standpoint of attracting people to it is a good thing. And your people aren't living here. They come out here, they can stand in the noise for an hour or 2, because if it's too noisy, they're going to go to a different part of the park. But if you're living in a home, you know, you can't open your window all summer, that's a problem. And that's a good thing here.
You know, I think with the trees in the background here, the side, it's going to muffle a lot of the sound.
Yeah. And the creek runs over there, it's not here, and that's a lot of the birding and stuff is over there too as well.
And you can hear, you know, we're sitting here right now, you can hear 94 trucks on the interstate.
Yeah.
It's not like this in a real quiet zone, but that little tick, 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 I wouldn't want to listen to it 8 hours a day either. I love it for 4 hours.
Did you say you haven't approached Michigan City Parks yet?
We've talked to them in general terms, but shortly after, they're open-minded. They said, we will listen. I don't know if you've talked with Shen. Yeah, they're open-minded because if they realize we're going to build 2 and they might not be used, maybe we'd be better off to use that money and go out and help them build 6 on a joint effort. My thinking is this: if the county and the city go together, either Franciscan or LaPorte Health Foundation, sometimes they like people collaborating, and then maybe you can get some support from them. Yeah.
Just for
things we can take up the book.
For the county park, this is a bigger reach than you might think. We don't have baseball fields, softball fields, basketball courts.
Right.
That's not really our mission.
Correct.
Whereas the city parks, it is.
Correct.
So it's just kind of a stretch for the county parks.
Right. And
I understand it's different. It's a unique aspect of what you have. And there's a lot of that, and when you say the city is, it's because all those other sports you mentioned are in schools already. So, you know, the city doesn't have any tennis courts in Michigan City. They're all at the high school. They have 8 tennis courts at the high school. There's some courts at the YMCA complex that Marquette uses that are virtually unplayable. None of these people, Ron Sanders is a big-time tennis player, he'll tell you he's not going to go up and play at those courts. Not viable.
So how much, you talked about Elston courts and you said there's issues with that. How much have you got an estimate how much it would cost to redo the surface of that to get you that four courts
City
again?
school system is not
They're not
know where that court's located. It's right at the corner of Franklin Street. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
If the double track comes in and is a successful, that big corner lot becomes a valuable piece of real estate. So they're not interested. The school system owns it, they're not interested in putting a lot of money in that corner when they probably can turn around and sell it for a whole lot more than they got in for a high rise or whatever. We've talked, Lance has talked with him, I've talked with him, YMCA's talked with him. That doesn't seem to be otherwise, if they were gonna do that, they would be getting bids to go to Water Tower Park.
I just was curious.
Yeah, that's a great question. I just don't think it's a viable plan for them right now.
Sir?
So once, let's say the courts are in, the concrete or asphalt or whatever is laid, what kind of costs are there annually for maintenance or equipment or the like? What else is necessary on an ongoing basis?
I can tell you this, at the YMCA, she bought, when we went in there on July 1st, it was, yeah, July 1st of 19, I said, we'll get you 25 or 30 members if you just let's put some pickleball courts down. And she said, well, how much is it going to cost me? I said, just go buy us enough tape to put down 4 courts. She sent somebody from Hawaii out to Lowe's or Menards, and they brought us back 6 or 8 rolls of tape. We laid the courts out ourselves. Most of the people that are in this group laid those courts out. We were playing by noon that same day. That afternoon, there were several more people playing. Since that day, they have spent, so we're in our 4th year now, they have spent a grand total of $700.
And
we're paying
nets.
Yeah, that's for nets that they bought. We used our own portable nets for a while. Then they finally invested $700 to buy 5 nets. We found out we could get free shipping if we bought 6, so we chipped in and bought the 6th net. And we put 4 of those up. We got the best net situation we've had anywhere indoors. If you go to the YMCA in LaPorte, you have to go to the desk, check out a bag with the net in it. It's got about 15 parts, put the parts together, set the net up. And then after you're done, you got to tear that down and take it back and check. We leave our nets up, we just pick them up, one person can carry them, set them right up against the wall. So they play basketball all night. Next morning we went and move our nets back. So it doesn't, now on a situation like this, you're gonna have permanent nets, just like you do for tenants. That's like $5,000 right up front. All that would require is somebody from the park department to take the nets down one time in the fall, put them back up in the spring. And I guarantee you, Jeremy calls me and says, I'm gonna need some help from your group.
We'd all be there.
We're gonna get some people on it. That's not a good job.
As far as the asphalt, I mean, I think what he was alluding to though, I mean, asphalt like that, if it's properly installed, should last. I mean, tennis courts.
8, 10 years.
Yeah.
All the time.
Without any resurfacing.
Some of them have lasted longer than that. We've had tennis courts in Michigan State that lasted longer. And 90% of that is good drainage and good foundation. It's just like you're laying a walkway out here. Jeremy knows if you don't have good drainage and a good foundation, you're going to have to go back and patch something out.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to add one thing that a lot of communities, I go down Florida, a lot of communities, the pickleball organization themselves maintain the park through tournaments, lessons, leagues. They can all be fundraisers to maintain the facilities, sell t-shirts.
Sure. So we do that. As you say, we have a fund, our own kind of flower fund, I guess they're called, for injuries and stuff like that. We also buy our own bulk of balls and pass them out amongst the members. Paddles, everybody pretty much has their own paddle or 2.
All of us have a half a dozen paddles if you start with one. So that when you're at the court, everybody here has got an extra paddle.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's got 10 or 12, I don't know. Right there. The bottom line is, at the YMCA, I can tell you, we actually saved the money. They had a custodian that came down to that gym and cleaned it a couple days a week before we got there. And we said, you don't have to send him down here anymore. We'll bring garbage up to his floor, which was a flight of steps, and we'll sweep the floor every day ourselves. You don't need that custodian first thing in the morning to clean the gym. One of us is there pretty much every day as the floor swept and that's set up. If it's raining, I go in a little earlier, or Dave does, or Dan does. Somebody sets the nets up for the pickleball people that come in. If not, they can pick them up and pull them out there themselves. We try to have them set up when they go out. And if the weather's good, I don't pull the nets out because I think they're playing outdoors.
We sweep the courts at Michiana, we sweep the courts ourselves. Somebody has a blower, sometimes because they have leaves that comes in and will blow the courts. Now, I do think they have a couple people that come in maybe once or twice a week and just totally like blow it or whatever, but when we go in the morning, like at 7:30, and if the courts are full of stuff, we blow them or sweep them ourselves. And they have one of those moisture roller, the roller to get the water up and stuff like that. So we usually do that ourselves.
Okay.
Like I say, it's such a growing sport, and more people are getting involved. I think there were 8 of us, 3 or 4 years ago, that went to Mexico in December and January to a pickleball camp and just had a ball. I mean, there were pros there that were giving the lesson demonstrations, and we actually played with them and alongside of them. So it is growing that much. It's almost international, any place you look. Whenever I go during the fall and winter, Arizona, wherever, I find out where I'm staying, and I'll maybe get a hold of Chamberlain and say, hey, do you have pickleball courts there? And what is the closest motel or hotel by it? I'd like to stay there.
Right. Well, what I'd like to propose is that we
Let me hear this.
we have our planning committee partner with you guys to come up with the details of, you know, what would it cost? What would the timing be? Is it something really that's feasible for the park department to take on? And one of the issues that I see is the league issue, because we're not into leagues. We're not into baseball, softball, basketball leagues. If you have leagues, then that adds another dimension. However, that wouldn't prohibit you from coming in and saying, hey, we're gonna have a little tournament this weekend and we're gonna play some pickleball. But I don't think that that's like Jim said, that's not one of our missions that we have in our purposes. So, but
We don't actually even have leagues now, it's what we call open play.
Open play.
That's the way this works.
but that might be something that you want to consider in the future.
Exactly. Basically, the first 4 people get in the gym in the morning, they start that game.
Yeah.
Now if a couple stragglers come in right after that, the 2 people that lose that game come off the court, and the 2 people that win stay on the court, but they have to split sides, so one of them's gonna lose the next game. So nobody gets to stay very long.
Yeah.
And if you win 3 or 4 games in a row, you're gonna probably dump a game because you need to go get a drink and sit down.
You're tired. You're whipped. Yeah.
So it's a natural selection and just keeps rotating.
Right.
Everybody plays with everybody. We did have one event that we've actually sponsored. We called it the Shamrock Speed, what do we call it? Scramble, the Speed Scramble, where we started everybody on a whistle, and we said the first team to 9 or 10 minutes, whichever comes first, yell time. We're gonna blow a whistle, and the winners move up toward number 1, and the losers move down toward number 6. So there was continuous play. You gave 1 minute to move from one court to the next. It was just a constant interchange of people, every 9 minutes, or every 9 points or 10 minutes. And I don't think I ever blew a whistle for 10 minutes. I think it always was 9 points. And they just kept moving and moving.
And no one cared who they played with or who they're playing
Play with whoever's there.
Right. Well, I think it sounds like a good thing, but I think we do need to have some more details.
We don't
and-
expect you guys to make any kind of decisions tonight. We're
Yeah.
just trying to get you to have some knowledge.
Okay.
Hopefully, we promote you to go look at Google, look at TV, look at YouTube.
Right.
There's plenty of stuff out there.
What I was thinking was maybe the planning committee and I could take a trip to Kessling or somewhere and listen to it, you know, see what how loud it
Right.
is and those kind of things. So maybe we can go over there when they're playing and, you know.
Jeremy, come in shorts and we'll teach you to play.
Yeah. I'll send my wife. She plays too, so
Yeah.
I play when there's no one else left.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for coming out, folks.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we
it.
really appreciate your input and your suggestions.
Jeremy said if you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, you're welcome to. If not, we're excused to leave.
Yes, absolutely. You can stay if you want. We go pretty quick.
Yeah, we won't be offended.
Yeah, he'll say something with something. Is there any other public comment while we're here?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait till the crowd settles. Okay.
Do we need a motion, have the planning committee look at it, or is that just the next thing we do?
We can make a motion.
Yeah, I'll move that the planning committee get together with Jeremy and investigate the next steps and get more information about the proposal.
Okay.
And one thing.
Go ahead.
I'll second it and then go on.
Thank you. One thing I would like to do with that is, you know, look at talking to the lawyer as far as injuries and that type of thing.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
the
how they're currently handled.
We can do that. The county has coverage for, I mean, park activities, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You know, we can talk to our insurance carriers and lawyers and stuff, but I mean, really, it's no different than the guy running on the trail.
Yeah,
You
I know there's.
Playground.
Yeah.
Sure, for sure. Okay.
So I-
It's something that we'll do in planning
Good
committee.
to think about what the planning committee can look at that.
All in favor of moving forward with the proposal?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, is there any other public comment?
I would like to add one more if possible. Jeremy has my phone number. If any of you want to see pickleball on a day when it's raining, indoors, outdoors, you can go to Kessler or anywhere else. He's got my phone number. Have him give it to you and call me anytime. I'm more than happy to help you and answer any questions, actually at the course.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, any other public comment? Joe?
Hey, thank you everybody. Joe Haney. I don't want to steal Jeremy's thunder later, but he got a shout out to some of his employees out of order, and just want to say the feedback that I've been receiving and continue to receive, more people get out to the park, see some of the different improvements that have happened. It's just continuing to grow and get more people to use the park. So keep up the amazing work, especially your staff and you, Jeremy, just get around for working hard. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Hearing none, let's move on to the financial report. Does anybody have questions about the financials?
My same comment, more zeros every time.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's how it goes this time of year.
Yeah, for sure. Can I have a motion to accept the financial report as written? So moved. And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Superintendent's report, Jeremy.
Yeah, so you see the report, but I also just wanted to mention a few things. The status on the restroom, you can see it's coming along, and septic was started today actually. So we're hoping, our goal is to have it done by Pioneer Days, but, you know, to have have it up and operational by then. It may not have the grass growing real pretty yet and all that, but we're gonna try to get that going by then. The accessible picnic table donation at Bloom, if you haven't been out there and seen, I think I sent pictures. You know, we had the wheelchair shop in Michigan City donated a nice wheelchair accessible picnic table. And then the Park Foundation donated a small shelter to go over it that we had constructed. So it's a really nice addition out there near that accessible playground. So we do have accessible, people with accessibility issues, users, then they have a place to sit in the shade and have a picnic at the table and that kind of thing. Website update, we are working with Sarah Group out of LaPorte. They're coming along. I've sent you a couple of different mock-up, the homepage and a couple of other pages already, so they're working on that. I don't see any big hurdles there, but we'll get through those as we do it. I think when we get that done, though, it's going to be that website that we have is years old. Nikki did a great job when she made it, but she was definitely not a web designer. She took classes in it when she went to college, 30 years ago or whatever. But that was early on website work. So I'm not knocking what she did. She did a good job. But I think with a professional web, designing company, I think we're going to see a lot more use and hopefully a lot more usefulness for us to be able to post easier and update people much quicker. So,
Jeremy, I have a question. This is working on trying to get a band for Pioneer Days?
Yeah,
What does that look like?
I was working on Cripple Creek. I don't know if you've heard them. It's kind of a country. They are not available, so I was trying to get somebody that could play some music, you know, folk type music. They played a lot of. They do play a lot of like folk, like gospel songs and stuff like that, which would have been kind of period. And they don't have a lot of amplification either, you know. Stuff, so but it's not working out, but they definitely said that we might be able to do something like that for next year. That's something people have been asking for at Pioneer Days, like, oh, it'd be kind of cool if you guys had some kind of music or something for the kids to dance to or whatever. Yeah, it'd be nice to have, you know, a real Pioneer band, but I playing them, I don't know what they play, but anyway. You know, washboards and jugs or something.
Maybe a fiddle.
But yeah, fiddle, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
that's all I had under the administrative reports.
Okay. One comment that I have on the programs is that they did a night hike and I wasn't able to go.
Oh yeah.
So
I think it turned out real nice. It was during that real hot time though, and I think she still had a good turnout. And she's hoping to make that a monthly thing if we can get it. You know, she's working on making it really interesting and interactive and that kind of thing. So hopefully it'll sneak out.
okay.
And how's
the
the
night hike, did you say? The
Night hike, yeah.
How's the seed library going?
She's finished up. She has another week and a half left, but she's pretty much finished up that project. We have had, so Rebecca, the one who did this, was a seasonal for us last year, who did the flower gardens and stuff, the gardening. And we had one person quit out at Bloom, the seasonal quit at Bloom, and then just recently, one of our other people had a heart issue and is in the hospital. So we're down 2 seasonals now, but Rebecca's gonna fill in for a couple of weeks since she's basically done with this native seed library project. We just have to look it over and make sure we have everything that April wants out of that project, and then if there's anything she wants her to update, she'll do that. But otherwise, she's going to be helping around the parks and probably here, since that's where our person is that is so.
Okay. Any other comments or questions about the?
Yeah, I was going to say, I know it was like Latin that was used as a filler, which I don't know, I didn't recognize it. I used it myself, but we thought that it made a reference to being Spanish. But it made me think about that's something, maybe not in the initial rollout, but at some point, I think that would be helpful to have a Spanish option.
It's not a bad idea. We'll see how the first rollout is, and we'll see what we can do from there, because there is quite a bit of Spanish contingent that uses our parks, and might use them more if we had that available for them to see. Yeah.
Okay. Reports of standing committees, executive committee. I don't believe we have anything to report at this time. No. Budget committee.
So you want to talk about it? So Jeremy went in front of the council. Thanks, Earl. And we have initially, I guess, gotten the request that is on your paper that we talked about last time, as some of those increases for office supplies, uniforms, fuel, equipment repair, trainings, electric waste disposal, and safety and first aid.
None of them were huge increases. I mean, if we're looking at a 12% increase in what I would call our operating budget, if you take out salaries, it's not a big increase considering we haven't asked for many increases over the last several years. But with inflation and everything, the cost of everything is so high. These were the ones that we just really thought, we really needed to go ask for. Thank you for Earl Council for approving those. It's going to help us a lot.
Okay.
We won't see those zeros come up as early this year.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Personnel committee. Anything? Property committee.
I can update you on that Bloom expansion project. They did agree to a price for the neighboring land. So that DNR project that we've talked about several times, they're working out the details as far as the land purchase. It would be, and I'll have to work with the auditor and commissioners and all that, but essentially the DNR, their foundation buys the land and basically transfer. We will be at the closing, or somehow somebody from the county will be at the closing, and it goes directly from the landowner basically directly to the county. It won't be going to our foundation. It won't be going to the DNR for them to do it. It's essentially going right past the DNR to the county. We would own it. They're still going to do the work while it's our land. They pay for the work. They pay for all the work and all of that, and then also give us. There'll be a fund for us to draw out of for maintenance of that property for several years to come. So,
Very good.
As far as I can see, and there will be an easement on the property, basically saying that we can't, once it's ours, we can't go in there and build something. They do all this work, and then we say, oh, we're gonna put a, pickleball shelter back there or something. But yeah, I mean that's essentially what it'll be is a natural area from here on out forever. It'll be the park's property.
Very good. Planning committee? No? Okay. And rules committee? Smoking?
Still not much on that. I've been going to the smoking cessation meetings, and they would still like it to see us, and we just, honestly, I've had so much else going on, we didn't get back to talk about this much, but there's the potential for some kind of smoking restrictions, especially around playgrounds and things like that. But all of our buildings are that way. But the smoking cessation group would love to see us do a little more, like in our pavilions and things like that. Even though they're open area, you're still smoking around kids or around other people, and especially the playground areas. So those are things that.
Would they be willing to come to Pioneer Days and even have like their own little?
I'm sure they would.
I'm just thinking of just different.
They came to our 5th grade field days and had a booth at that. So I mean, I don't think that would be a stretch for them to. We have the tents. We can set up a tent. I'll ask them. I'll definitely ask.
Just to pull it in.
Bad idea.
When I share this information, I just happened to see, because I live right by the Waterford Inn. Waterford Inn just put a questionnaire out. Should we stay a smoking establishment or switch to non-smoking? It's been a smoking establishment for as long as I can remember. And they've had 1,028 votes. 90% of them are switched to non-smoking.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm totally shocked because the people that are in there now are smokers.
Yeah.
So it's. And there were several other restaurants that are their competition were saying switch to non-smoking. If you're on Facebook, just look up Waterford Inn 2.
Yeah.
And that's going to be continuing. I mean, it just started 2 hours ago, probably. 5 hours ago, they've already had 1,000 votes.
Wow.
So I'll keep working with the rules committee and the smoke cessation, and start maybe have a booth out here for Pioneer Days, and then we can start kind of raising that awareness as well. I mean, our facilities, our buildings are smoke free, right? Mm-hmm. But this is a building. In my opinion, this is a building. So we could potentially start off by saying, don't smoke in the shelter, or 8 feet from the shelter. That way you're not somewhat confining the smoke in the building. Around playgrounds, we don't want cigarette butts around playgrounds where kids are going to grab them. So,
okay.
Those are just ideas.
Okay. Old business? I don't think we have any old business that I've seen. New business, the Next Level Trails grant.
Yeah, so this was already I sent this out to the group already, and I've been helping them. We actually had to submit by 4 o'clock today for the town of Westville. But just, I know the group, or the board pretty much said, yeah, I think this is a good idea for us to help. It's a help to the park to have extend this trail into town. So I just wanted to officially, have you guys make a motion and vote to help, for me to help with them as this progresses if we have further need.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve the ability to help Westville with their next level trails grant to extend the trail through the town of Westville to Prairie Meadow Park?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Request to approve Johnson Septic.
Yeah, so
To install
this is also already started because we want to get this done as soon as possible. I'd already talked, I sent this to Ron and Jim. We had basically had two bids. One was Johnson Septic for $29,593.50, and the other was Parkman Excavating for $27,500. So Parkman was actually lower, but Mark told me, he said, I don't think I can get it done before you're going to be able to. He said, I just have so much going on, and with the farming and with other excavation projects he's already promised when the farming slowed down. He said, I can't just put you in front of everybody. So it was a difference of about $2,000, and to try to make sure we get this done before Pioneer Days and get everything back to normal. I think Ron and
we had that discussion, and it just made sense to try to get it done before Pioneer Days, and it would not happen if we went with Parkman for sure. So I think it's going to be significantly better to have it done for Pioneer Days than to wait until October or November to try to get it in, and then weather can complicate things. So it just made sense to go with Johnson, and they have a good reputation. They're local.
They do. We use Johnson at my home.
Yeah, we do too.
They're punctual and they're yeah. I think it's a good idea.
Professional.
Yeah.
So
can we get a motion to approve the bid for Johnson Septic to install the septic here at Creek Ridge? And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay. We already had public comment, which was switched to the beginning of the meeting, and
That was very wise.
yes, I think so too. It's much more quiet. Board and staff comments. Any comments?
I do. I just wanted to thank you so very much. We went out to Bloom, and my brother-in-law's in a wheelchair, and there was like a little lip, and we were just having a little bit of trouble just getting him over that. We worked it out. I mentioned it to Jeremy, and it was like fixed within 5 minutes. So I sincerely appreciate. I mean, not really, but I really appreciate that, because now we can go and it's smoother, and I just appreciate that. Secondly, I've been talking to other people that have been taking their kids to our programs here with our new staff. All excellent comments. I'm always, Nature Nikki was like near and dear to me, but really good feedback from our community, which makes me very happy. So
I got the opportunity to work with April at a festival, and she set up a tent and had children around her constantly. Their kids were making butterflies from cardboard and construction paper, and she did such a fantastic job working with these kids.
Yeah, very good. And I have one comment. I had someone, my daughter, ask if it would be possible to put a bark chip path around the interior perimeter of the dog park at Lure so that she could walk her dog on the inside track, just to do obedience training or whatever else she does with her dog. Just a comment. She said I should make that. I told her I would. So if anybody would make lawn cutting possibly easier, and it gives another option for people that want to walk their dogs.
One of the things we're looking at, and I'm actually getting ready to make a purchase of a small amount of this to see how we think it'll work, it's called an underfence mow strip, and it's it's a plastic, hard plastic type stuff. That's 16 inches wide, and it would go under the fences, so we wouldn't have to weed eat or spray anymore. And you can run right over the edge of it with the mower, and it's not going to hurt it or anything like that. So we're gonna try out basically a test strip of it. But I think it's going to be I think it'll be a kind of a game changer, because we do spend a lot of time with those fences, whether it's spray, which people don't like around their dogs, and I understand that, or whether we are weed eating around them. So it's a lot. So
it takes manpower, and and sometimes that can get very challenging. So, any other staff or board comments? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Good meeting.
Very good.